Hi again, just going to cover a little bit around the birth certificate. There's been a number of people teaching the concept of getting a hold of your certified copy of birth registration, or whatever it happens to be called in your particular jurisdiction, is a beneficial thing. And this is the way to get it in British Columbia. And just want to note that this is an agency of the government of British Columbia. It is called the Vital Statistics Agency. You can see the name up here, Vital Statistics Agency. And because it's called an agency, it's no longer a department of the government. And this type of information used to be within the within a department, and it was sliced off and turned into an agency, which is a distinct entity from the government. So there's been a number of departments that have become agencies, and there's a lot of I think legal stuff around that. Also want to point out here with regards to the logo, British Columbia, you have British Columbia in all capitals. You have this here as a logo image. It is actually a corporate symbol. It is not a constitutional symbol of the province of British Columbia. It's a registered corporate trademark and is indicative of some type of corporation versus an actual constitutional provincial court, or excuse me, provincial province. And there's a whole bunch of stuff around the history of this and the changes associated with it, which I've gone into in another video, and also will be doing an update shortly. So here we are at the Vital Statistics Agency website. This is the place to go. The address is vs.gov.bc.ca, and you can go here to get information on all the various types of registrations and certificates, and to make an application, or for getting one made originally, or for getting a copy of one. And just as a note here, this is for birth registration and certificates. So you register the birth, then you get a copy of the certificate from the registration. And some people have been talking about the fact that these certificates are not to be used for identification purposes. And within the BC website here, there is a specific statement. When you have a baby, you're supposed to register the live birth form, and the Vital Statistics Act gives you 30 days from the date of your child's birth to file that form. A number of people are claiming that the birth certificate that you receive is not meant to be used for ID. Well, the Vital Statistics Agency here is clearly stating that birth certificates are important and used for identification and to access benefit programs and services. And since you go into all of these different government agencies and they all ask for that as identification when you go in for a bank account and various other things, I would be surprised if what the difference is, because I believe I've also seen references from Ontario where it says it's not meant to be used for identification. So I find it interesting, the distinction with BC, where they talk about it being specifically used for identification. And as confirmation of that, with regards to ID, they say here that the official birth certificate is for official identification. And if you think about the term official identification, that's anything to do with potentially an office or a legal person holding an office. And if the entire game is predicated on creating legal persons which hold some type of office in the government and therefore performing a function of government, etc., becoming subject to the statutes, which is one of the theories out there, it's interesting to consider that they determined that this official birth certificate, which is the small compact one you carry around in your wallet, is for official identification purposes and is asked for bank accounts and various other things. So again, slight different information from Ontario with regards to that. And going back up here to the top with regards to that, they are saying your child's birth and legal name. For this is for the creation of the legal name, not the lawful name in common law. So again, indication of creating a different legal existence for official identification purposes and for official use only. So you can potentially move that on to the idea that if you're doing anything as an execution of an office or as an official government representative of any kind, you would use that particular ID, and if you're not, you wouldn't. There's also been issues with regards to, do they register the body? Are they actually claiming the body, the registration of the body? Well, this is, there's been a number of references in the Vital Statistics Agency website to the fact that they are registering an event. They never mention the body, they're registering the event. And there is a section in BC Archives with regards to the history of vital statistics and the information, and they're referring to them all as vital events. And here it is right here, vital events, okay? So it appears in British Columbia that things are clearly labeled as vital events, which is births, deaths, marriages, and all of those things are clearly labeled as registration of event, not registration of a body or the people that are associated with it. So if you want to get your certified copy of your birth registration, then you can do that here through the Vital Statistics Agency website. You can also go down to one of the local offices. If you actually go to the registration of live birth form, which is what's filled out when the baby is born, and they like it within 30 days, you can see the instructions here on the form are to print, and they indicate capital letters. They're hinting there. They're also hinting again here by making these capital letters. But they have the alternative upper and lowercase down here. So they're making an inference with regards to capitalization. Another issue with these forms is something called the law of boxing. And there's a number of people who teach the concept that when you put something in a box, it is removed from the page for legal purposes. It isn't joined to anything else because it's been separated by this box. And that can be four corners only, just the actual four corners, or an entire closed box, indicating the law of boxing. And you notice that within all of these sections, they're boxed off from each other, except you'll notice that here you have an opening in these lines here to create joinder. If you were to actually, the way it was described to me initially years and years ago, was that if you were to pour water into this top box here, you would have water flowing down into this box, but no further, into this box, but no further, and so on. And you're creating an actual legal joinder between these sections of information, but no legal joinder to these other sections, which indicates some legal separation between those things. And notice how the surname is separated. It is not joined. You have the first and middle names, which based on common law, your first and middle names are your name. They were given to you by your parents. The surname is the family name, which is not yours, but is given to you for the use and is really not your property, but your first and middle names are in fact your name, and this is the family name. So if you look at the structure of all these different certificates and different application forms, and you look at the law of boxing, this is also interesting with regards to the signature line. You have a flow-through space here, and then you have a dotted line which allows the signature to flow through and create joinder with the date of the signature. And very often you'll see signatures are actually in closed boxes, and part of that is to create separation from the rest of the form, and in this case they want to join the date signed with the signature. Is this one here. This is an online fillable form. These are fields which you can fill out online and then print it after it's filled out. So it's convenient to do it all online.